Okay, thank you for having me again. I've been here before and I see many familiar faces. I appreciate your giving me the time to speak to you again. I know some of you are from Paso Robles and we do share the same area, but Paso Robles and Atascadero, as you know, are really philosophically quite different in terms of the way that we see the world. Some things the same, some things quite different. If you look at our football teams, we're fighting all the time. So one of the reasons I'm running again is because I remember how Atascadero was before I ran the first time. I don't know if you can remember back to Atascadero in 2006, 2007. We had a very divisive council. We had those that were on the council that had the environment as their religion and would openly tell you that was the case. We had people ejected from the city council chambers because they were disrespectfully grimacing at the mayor, and he didn't like what they had to say. I got mad. I'm not a politician. I'm just a citizen. I've lived here a good part of my life. I grew up in Atascadero. I graduated from Atascadero High School. I went on to Cuesta College and graduated, and from Cal Poly with honors. I'm a local product. I married an Army man, and off we went to see the world, but when we were able to come back, we came back to Atascadero. I was lucky enough to work for the county as an intern during my college years to help me put myself through college, and worked for the local agency formation commission. And after graduating, I actually was hired there and worked there during the time that Atascadero was incorporated, and I was able to work on Atascadero's incorporation study. So I remember Atascadero before we were a city, and then the reasons why we incorporated, and I hold true to that vision to this day. I care about Atascadero. This is the city that I love, and that's the reason that I am running, to retain the rural character of Atascadero. We're not like any other city around here, and the historical flavor, which we definitely want to keep. I ran last time and will continue to run this time because I want to continue economic development. That we've seen cities around California begin to falter. We've seen them going into bankruptcy in some cases, and Atascadero is struggling just like any other city. We have the state coming in, as Steve said, they're taking money from us. They took away our redevelopment. It's good and bad on that one, and you can see it both ways, but it hurt our city. And we're asked to do more with less. And one of the ways we can continue to have those services that we incorporated to have is to grow the economic pie. We don't want to inhibit business, we want to encourage business. We want people to have an opportunity to be able to live here, to grow up here, to start a business or find a place to work and remain in Atascadero. And above that, we want to see a place for people to shop. That many of us find that we do go to Paso Robles when we need to buy a coat or socks or shoes, or to San Luis Obispo. It shouldn't be that way. We want to grow Atascadero in the economic way. We're able to, as a city council, Tom O'Malley, who's also in the audience, and I and others on our council, have had a fairly united view during the last 4 years, and we see the world as an opportunity. And so we're pushing forward with things that take a little bit of a risk. That, for instance, the Galaxy Theater came to Atascadero and said, we'd like to put a theater here, and we said, we're delighted. But then they said, well, we can't quite get up enough money for our down payment to go ahead and do our loan. Times are tough with loans, as we all know, and it's been a hard time economically for them to do this. Atascadero fronted that money, and we were paid back, in which that is the reason we have Galaxy Theater today. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. It's harder for some people. If you have a vision, you know where you're going to go with it, you know it's worthwhile, and the City Council had that vision. We're doing this once again. You may have heard on the radio, it was announced that we have the possibility of a 124-room hotel coming to Atascadero. Hotels are huge for generating money for city coffers. That they have something called TOT, Transient Occupancy Tax, which is a bed tax. Every time you stay in a hotel, wherever you may be, you pay this tax, and it's usually somewhere around $10 a pop each night that you stay, which is a lot of sales tax revenue if you back it out to your 8% and what you would bring in. And so we were very interested in seeing a hotel come to Atascadero, but they aren't able to come without a little help. Times are tough. We saw the need for assisting them, so we're going to defer some of their development fees, attach a lien to their property so that we're sure and certain that we are paid back within 6 years, but we want that hotel and we're willing to take that risk. with your money, which is a little scary as a public official to do, but we see the benefits of this. We can see the vision. We know where we want to go with this. We need that economic growth to survive. One of the reasons I'm also running this time, and in the past I wasn't quite as aware when I stepped into the arena of city council, was the need for local control. That many of you in the past have talked to me about regional boards, the Air Pollution Control District, the Integrated Waste Management, the Coastal Commission, and on and on. We know about these commissions, and we know that they are trying to take away the flavor that we have and the individuality that we have as Atascadero residents. Wouldn't it have been nice if we could have taken that bag ordinance that they are pushing down our throats and taken it to the city council and asked our citizens to weigh in on this, whether they wanted it or not? It wouldn't really matter, but we would be responding to their individual needs instead of saying, we're going to do this all through the county. We don't really care if you like it or not. I don't like that. I think it's important that we keep that local flavor, whether it's from the bag ordinance, it could be from the Air Pollution Control District. We're getting a climate action plan, which we all have talked about in the past. And we know that there's some danger for us that will change the rural flavor of Atascadero by putting smart growth and very tight development in certain areas. And having mass transit, whether we want it or not, or we live out on the edge of the city halfway to Morro Bay, as many of us do, we're not going to have a way to get into town if they tell us we're not going to have our cars. We need to fight to keep what we have. And that is what we are. We're Atascadero residents. We're not Paso Robles residents. We don't live like we're in San Luis Obispo. This is different here. We want to stay different. I'd like to see Walmart open. This has been a long haul for me personally and for everybody in Atascadero. We all voted on this DO8 in 2008. Did we want Walmart in a big box store or not? And overwhelmingly, we said yes. There was 2/3 of the electorate said, we want a Walmart. And so we went through the process, heard the environmental impact report hearings, and I had, I don't know how many pounds worth of paper that I haven't carried around for quite a long time. But we took it to a vote. The city council approved it. The citizens were given a chance to weigh in on this. And we have Save Atascadero coming back and telling us, oh no, 4 people against 26,000, we don't want you to have your Walmart. This isn't totally unexpected. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in. But I believe Atascadero, as a city council, needs to fight this. They're asking us to pay their legal fees. Heck with that. You know, I just can't see this. If there's a way to put out a bond or force them to put some skin in the game, we're losing millions of dollars in sales tax revenue by delaying this. This place has to be built. We have construction jobs. We have people who would love to have a job working in Walmart, and this is all put to a screeching halt with Save Atascadero. I don't want to take this lying down. I want to give this a good fight. I'm not an attorney. I don't know the best way to go about this, but I'm going to be behind it. We're going to fight it if there's any way that we can do this. Someday, I'm going to see that door open. I'd like to continue the vision that this city council has for this community. I think we're on the right track. The Atascadero for years and years was seen as a place where you didn't want to start a business. It was too hard. The city government didn't cooperate. It was a difficult proposition. Let's go to San Luis Obispo, let's go to Paso, any place but Atascadero. It's been refreshing to go back and take our application to start up a business and take it from 11 pages down to 1. We want to take those regulations and get rid of the unnecessary ones. We want to go through those codes and weed those things out and make this an easy place to live, to prosper, to talk to your government and get answers and have transparency. Lastly, I'd like to just let you know, as your representative, I think I have a good track record with you. I hope so. I would hope that you would feel comfortable with me and that you feel that you can come to me at any time, that you can email me, I email you back, you can call me. I tend to be a researcher. I like to ask questions, I gather lots of information, and I will be here to take up on the problems that come up, and there are always problems and new things that will come forward, and I will give it my very, very best to be a good representative for you. To close this, I had left something on your seat. It's a brochure, and inside it is an envelope. And I'm not going to ask you for money, although I'd love to have it. It does cost money to put out those signs and do the things I need to do. But if you'd like to endorse me, if you could check that box and put your information on that envelope and give it back to my husband in the back, we'd be delighted to have you on our team. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes?
Did you have a conversation with a person today about an endorsement?
As a matter of fact, I did. I called up Debbie Arnold just to make sure it would be okay to say that she endorsed me. I didn't want to step on any toes. I wanted to ask her first. And she said, yes, by all means, she does endorse me.
As a matter of fact, she called me to confirm that. So Debbie does endorse it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, I just have a question. I noticed a couple years ago when I called the city of Paso Robles asking about the road situation, I was told, oh, we don't have any money for roads because the state took it. But at the same time, I noticed when I came to Atascadero, they were replacing and repairing their roads. So could you share with us what the difference is and
Yes.
why?
Yes, I think it's a difference of philosophy. When Atascadero incorporated, there were really just a couple of reasons that we incorporated. One was we wanted to maintain our roads. The county wasn't keeping them up. Roads were important. We have tons of roads in Atascadero. If you've driven them, you know. In some places, like a bowl of spaghetti, they wind up and down the hills. And it is the main way of traveling in town is through taking your car. Public safety is also a priority with the citizens of Atascadero. It was a reason we incorporated way back when, because we would call the county and it would take hours for them to come. I can tell this from personal experience. We had a crime going on across the street from my home. Called the sheriff on a New Year's Eve, and it took them over an hour because they were out on the blue flu. By the time they got there, of course, the criminals were gone. And we wanted the fire department to be here and be local. And so we have really concentrated on those things as a city council, and our priorities are a little bit different in Atascadero.
So did you budget for it then?
Yes, we did budget for it, yes. And we've looked at the most innovative ways we can find to maintain our roads. If you go down Atascadero Avenue, this is a cold process of applying and recycling the asphalt that's underneath. It's a brand new process. It hasn't been tried anyplace else in the county. The road is beautiful. It was much cheaper to do it this way, and we will continue with it.
What kind of cost did you have per mile doing it the way you
I can pull that figure out for you, but I don't have it at my fingertips. Email me and I'll get it for you.
I don't do emails.
Give me a call. Okay. Yes.
Could you comment a little bit on the energy audit ordinance, that situation in general for the building and so on?
I think it's deplorable. I shake my head when I hear about it. They're asking people to take $400 if they're doing an improvement to their house and have an energy audit, which they didn't ask for. They could use that money for so many other things that would be much more profitable for them personally. I think most people who live in a home know that energy costs money. If you were able to put in new windows or insulate or do whatever you could, you would do it. You don't need somebody telling you how to run your life. I think this is like the camel's nose under the tent, that they're saying you have to do this now. We're not going to make you do these improvements, but you have to do this. This is the start. This is a way to go forward and make us do whatever they say we have to do. I thoroughly resent it and would never vote for that if I were in that position. Any others? Sir?
How much of a nest egg has Atascadero got?
We are living a little bit off of our reserves. It's not the main part of our money. We've probably got another 5 or 6 years worth. It's usually, it's about $750,000 to $1 million that we're taking out of reserves each year. But actually what we're seeing, and I'm sure this will be borne out by Mr. O'Malley if he speaks tonight, is our sales tax revenue is up. That we're building that base for the economy so that we will begin to slack off on using our reserves. This money was put aside for a rainy day, and that is what we have been using it for, but it certainly is something we'd like to get away from doing. Any others? Yes.
When you were at KPRL, and there was like an attorney that called in, remember, and he was giving you information. Okay, so then were you able to use any of that information to the benefit for the city?
Actually, I've been trying to track him down. I contacted Dan Del Campo, and he was supposed to try to figure out who you were. He said he knew you, or an attorney and possibly a judge, but he didn't know for sure. He said he thought it was David.
I got all that. I'll be pleased to talk to you and Mr. Funches
Yeah.
after the meeting, and I'll answer any questions.
That
you
would be
have.
great. If there's a better way of going at it, we're certainly in favor of it. If there's a way to cut this short or have them quit by putting down a bond because they can't, we could have them let this go and we can go forward, which is our goal. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.